Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to this tutorial of the Next.js, and in this tutorial we will be making use of something as a prisma. So I came across this prisma. So when it comes to this prisma, so prisma is nothing but it's the next generation ORM. ORM stands for Object Relational Mapper. For it is mostly used for the Node.js and TypeScript. Okay, so it make uh, working with the databases like the Postgres, MySQL, SQLite, and SQL Server, MongoDB, or CockroachDB. These are some of the DBs like with which it makes it easier to work with all these things by letting you query your database using the type safe JavaScript TypeScript client instead of writing the raw SQL everywhere. As we know, like writing the raw SQL is a bit difficult. So basically, this is how you can write a query like the users.find many and these other select queries and all these things. So this is just like the MongoDB kind of a thing. Like you must have already used the MongoDB in the Node.js and all in the month stack. If you have used, you will know. Okay, so there are some of the key features of the Prisma. It's a schema-based modeling feature it is having. Like you can define your database model in the schema.prisma. Okay, so I have already created it. So there is a schema.prisma. Over here, I have declared my model user. Okay, so you can declare your model in this file, and Prisma then generates a client library you can use in your app. It's a safe client. Queries are auto-completed and checked by the TypeScript. If you mistype a field, TypeScript will catch it before the runtime. And it is having the migrations also. We have to run the migrations. So Prisma has a migration system which will be running with this particular command, which is npx prisma migrate. And this is the name of the migration. I will be explaining all guys, right? I'm just giving you the brief overview, okay, to that updates your database schema safely without any queries, okay. And it supports the multiple databases, as I already told you, like Postgres, MySQL, SQLite, and all these things. And it is having the built-in query engine is optimized and saves you from writing tons of the boilerplate SQL. So this is the basic definition of the Prisma, which will make your life a little bit easier. Okay, so let's dive deeper and see what is this Prisma. So far in the Next.js, we have already seen how to write the API endpoints like the get and post functions, or how to create a get and post API endpoints. Okay, so as of now, inside of this F folder, I have created API folder. Instead of the API, there is this users, and this users file is having this routes which is get and a post. Okay, so get and post has been declared over here to get the users and to post to the users table. Okay, so when it comes to the getting the users, I am making use of the Prisma over here. I'll say import Prisma from library. There is a file called Prisma. Okay, so now let me just show you the hierarchy. So this is our main repository. Inside of this main repository, I have created one folder called Prisma, and there is this schema.prisma file inside of it. Okay, so when it comes to this schema.prisma file, there is this code which is to connect to the provider, which is Prisma client.js. And here we connect to data source, which is basically our database URL, and here we declare our models. Okay, so now don't get confused, this is the very beginning. So now when it comes to the connecting to the data source, I have declared this database URL, so database underscore URL instead of this .env. Go to the .env, and over here I'm making use of the Postgres. Okay, so this is the format of the database URL. This is I'm making use of the Postgres SQL. Then it comes your username, then the password, and then your host where your database hosted. I'm making use of the local host, which is 5432. Then the name of the database, and then the schema. I'm making the public schema. Okay, so here this is my Postgres SQL. This is my actual database URL. Username is Postgres, password is Postgres. I'm using the local DB, and rest of the thing like my DB name is also Postgres. Okay, so this is my database URL which I am using over here in the data source. Okay, and this is my model called a user. Okay, so a user model is having the three attributes: ID, name, and the email, where ID is unique, and by default it will be auto incremented. name is string, email is string, but email should be unique. Okay, so this is how we declare the model. Now if suppose I want to create a social media kind of a platform, okay, and if suppose I want to uh, allow my system, my each and every user to have the multiple posts, I can do that with the help of the model called post. Okay, wait, I'll do one thing. Let me just run the code first, and then I will show you how to carry out the migrations and all those things. Right now what I'm doing over here, I'm having the UI already running. So over here, I will create the users and I'll add those users to my DB. Right now, this is my Postgres tool which I have connected with the help of the table plus. So there is something as a table plus. Let me let me just show you what is table plus. So table plus is basically it is used to connect to your DBs, and you can see the database tables and their data. It basically gives you the UI. Okay, so here on the left hand side, whatever you see, these are the tables. And you click on the table, it will show you its attribute and the data. Okay, so I am making use of the table plus where I have connected my Postgres DB over here. As you can see, it is connected to the Postgres. My database name is Postgres, username is Postgres, and I'm connected right now. So don't get confused right now. I know there are a lot of things which are going on, but let me explain you all the code. Okay, so all those models, whatever you will be using, whatever tables you want, we have to declare it over here. And when we will be running the migrations file, all those migrations will be uh, migration file will be creating all those tables over here inside of my Postgres. Okay, so right now what I will do, right now my server is running over here. I'll open one more command prompt. So when it comes to the making use of the Prisma inside of your Next.js, there are these two packages which you have to install: npm install Prisma client and npm install Prisma this save dev, whatever that is. Okay, so whenever we write some code over here or carry out the modifications to the schema.prisma, we have to run the migrations. And we'll be running that migrations with this command. Okay, npx prisma migrate dev. I will do it manually. Npx prisma migrate. I'll do dev hyphen hyphen name, and I will be giving the name to my migrations. Okay, I'll say first. Okay, so I will hit this. Now if you see, one migration folder will be created over here. Okay, it is running, and this is the migrations folder. Okay, and this is what it has run. It has created one table called the users with this many fields inside of our DB. Okay, so migrations for will it keeps the track of what tables we are creating. Now if I just refresh over here, I will see the user table that it has created, and this is the Prisma migrations table which keeps the track of the migration. So right now if you just check, the name of my migration was first, so as can be seen it's underscore first, and there is some this timestamp kind of a thing which it has attached. Okay, so whatever name you give, it will come over here, and it has created this user table. Now if suppose I'll do one thing. If suppose I want one more table, okay, I'll do one thing. I will create model post over here, and when it comes to this model post, it will have the ID by default. I'll copy this, paste it over here, and then it will have the title which is of type string, and it will have the content which is of type string, but we can keep the content empty. That's why I'm putting the question mark. Okay, and it is having the published, which is boolean, and default will be false. Okay, we will give the default value over here, and then I'm having the created at, and it's a date time, and default, I can give some default value, and default I will give now. Okay, this is created at, and user ID. Okay, I will give the user ID to this. I mean, which user has created this post, it will have the user ID. And then we have the user, which is basically the linking of this particular model. I'm linking this model over here. I'll say user, and it is having the relation over here with field user ID, and it references to the ID. Okay, so basically when it comes to this, this is the foreign key. Okay, so this is the foreign key which I'm using. And right now what am I doing? This is the user table, right? So what I want each and user to have the multiple posts. So I'll say post, and over here I'm giving it as array. Okay, so basically like this is the post which is in the form of array, which will have the objects of this multiple post. Okay, this is just an example which I'm giving here. Don't be stressed with this and this. This is just an example which I'm giving, because I just want to show like when I want to add more tables, whenever I'll be updating the schema.prisma file, how to update those tables in the DB over here. Okay, so right now if I just refresh, it is not coming because we have not run the migrations file, and as of now we can see there is only one migration file over here. So right now what I will do, I will show you how to upgrade the table. Okay, so again we have to run this command, we have to run this migrations because we have added one more model called the post. Okay, so I will give some name called second. I will run this, and there is this error. This line is not valid field or the attribute defined, line number 14. Okay, let me just resolve this. Post, so I'm making use of this post, so that's why it has to be post. I hope now it will go. Okay, so it has run the code, and now if I just refresh, so now it can be seen inside of the prisma. So there is this one more migration entry with the name of the second, and now if you go inside of the post, there is this new table which has been created. Okay, so this is how you can update your DB to add more tables. So now I will do one thing. I hope now this is clear, like how to add tables to the DB or how to update the DB. So now suppose I want to update this, I'll say post one. I'm just showing you all for the sake of your understanding, and then again I will do one thing. This is the third time I'm updating. I'm just updating the name of the model. Then I have to update over here also. Okay, let me see whether this is working or throwing error. Okay, it is updating, and now if I just refresh, it has updated the name of the table to the post one. Okay, so don't focus more on this. Right now I just wanted to show you all how this is working. Now the real part is we will be diving inside of our code. So now if we go inside of the src folder over here, inside of the src folder I have this app. Instead of the app I created this API, instead of the API I created a users, instead of the users I created a file routes. So src app API users and the routes.js. Okay, so now when I want to get the list of all the users, okay, when I want to get the list of all the users, I will say I will define this get function over here as a constant users is equal to await prisma dot user dot find many. Okay, prisma dot user dot find many, and we return the response. So basically what this will do, number of the users I am having inside of my DB. Over here it will return all those users. Okay, so prisma.user, user over here is the name of the table. Okay, and now I have created this post method also, which is basically posting to a DB. I will get the body over here, and then I will say await prisma.user.create, and I will create this data with name and email. I will update, and I'll also send a response. This we have already seen in the previous tutorials how to do this, but right now I'm just making use of the prisma. Okay, so over here inside of our page.js, this is the client side. Okay, so this is client side rendering I'm using. I am making use of these three hooks: one to catch the name, one to catch the email, and one to catch the number of the users. Over here now, in the previous tutorials I have shown you all, like we directly can't use the API over here. It will throw the error, right? Because when it comes to the fetching the data from the server side, when it's fetching the data from the server side, it is a server side operation. That's why it will throw the error, because over here I already declared the use client. But right now here it will work. Why? Because I'm directly not fetching it from the server. I am just going to this forward slash API forward slash users, which is basically the code which I've declared over here, forward slash API forward slash users, and then I am calling out the get request. Okay, so I'm calling my this get request to get the number of the users. Okay, so this particular code, it will fetch the number of the users in the DB, and then it will assign it to the set users over here, this use state hook. Okay, and then I will get all the users from a DB, which is from this users variable, and then I'll be rendering those users over here in the unordered list. Right now, just let me explain you all what is going on over here. So this is basically the very simple page, as can be seen over here, which will take the name of the user and the email. Then we will click the add user. When we will click on this add user, this is taking the name, this is taking the email, and this is the button to add the user. Okay, so when we click on the add user button, so it is basically calling out this add user function over here. This is the add user function here. Okay, so this is the add user function. Let me expand. So first I'm doing the e.prevent default to prevent the form from submitting the reload. This we have already seen in the React and all. If you guys know the React, you'll come to know. Then I'm checking if the either the name or email is empty. If it is empty, then I'm showing the alert that you have to fill the both the fields. Then I am fetch. I'm just pointing to this forward slash API forward slash user, which is basically this method. Okay, so I'm posting the data to the DB. Over here, what am I doing? Method is post. Body I'm taking as a string in the string form, that is the name and the email. Header over is content type application JSON. Okay, so over here, what am I doing? I am just posting the data to the Prisma. So now let me just show you all. So over here, this is a post request where I am doing the await prisma.users.create. I'm creating the data, I mean posting the data to the DB, and the data is name and the email. Okay, so name and the email will be going to the DB, and then it will send a response like which user it has added. So now let me just show you the example. I will say Akshay and at gmail.com. I'll add this. Okay, so now this is the data which has been added to the DB. Now let me just show you the DB, the user table. Let me just refresh. Here, as can be seen, the data is there in the DB. And here I'm also getting the data back. Let me just refresh the page. Here, I'm also getting the data back, because here in the use effect, what our fetch is doing, it is fetching the data from the forward slash API forward slash user, which is this forward slash API forward slash user. There is this get request, which is getting all the users from the DB, and it is returning to the front end. And then front end, it is setting up these users to this particular variable, and this variable over here, it is mapping all those users over here down below in the unordered list. And that's why we are seeing this particular entry. I hope this is clear. And now if I just create one more user, and if I add this user, now if I just go to this DB, let me just refresh, as can be seen there is a one more entry over here. Okay, so this is how we'll be adding the data, and thus simultaneously we will be seeing that data over here on the UI because of the get API. So this is how we are posting the data and fetching the data from the Prisma DB, and with the help of the Prisma DB, life becomes easier because we actually don't have to write the SQL queries to post the data to the DB or get the data from the DB. Okay, it is that easy and simple. And this is how we will be writing the code over here for the Prisma when we'll be creating the models. This is how we'll be creating the models, and here you will find the list of all the migrations file. Okay, first migration file, second migration file, third migration file, what happened in all those migration files. So it is automatically writing the SQL queries, and it is updating the SQL DB. Okay, so now as can be seen, it has already written this SQL query based on whatever things we have done over here. In the last migration file, what it has done, it has altered the post to the post user ID, then it has dropped table post, it has created one more table in the name of the post one with the same attributes. So this is how it will work in the background, and you can see over here. Okay, you can see what it has done for the all the respective migrations. For the second migration, you created the table called post, and these were the attributes which were assigned to it, and we have altered the public post table. We have added the constraint post user ID as a foreign key and all those things that you can see over here. So this is how we can make use of the Prisma, guys. In tutorial we can make use of the Prisma elsewhere also. You can make it you can use it inside of the monster as well, not an issue. So thank you for watching. This was all about the Prisma and how to make use of the Prisma with the Next.js.